You're listening to Neurodivergent Solutions, a bite-sized episode of Divergent Paths with me, Dr. Regina McMenomy. I'm here to drop one insight at a time to help you live, work, and lead with your whole self. No masking required. So let's talk about rest. I bring rest up all the time in our full-length episodes. I'm not talking about burnout recovery. I'm not talking about crashing into the couch exhaustion, but when we make actual intentions to rest and why it's not a luxury, especially for neurodivergent people. This is a strategy. This is something you need to survive. So let's think about, a lot of our culture makes us think that rest is something you have to earn, that it's not productive, that it takes away from your contributions. So one of the big things I really want to continually do is reframe our thinking into rest is productive. It is part of what allows you to work and to function. Neurodivergent brains burn hot and they burn fast. And that's one of the reasons why burnout is so likely to happen for people who are neurodivergent, because there is so much going on in your brain all at once. So downtime is required, is extra important for people who are neurodivergent. It helps your nervous system regulate, which allows you to be interested in things. Like, it allows your nervous system to feel the motivation to get things done. Like I talk about having an interest-based nervous system, rest allows you to have that feeling of wanting to do things as part of your life. A couple of things that we do as especially late diagnosed neurodivergent people. When you mask, when you have grown up masking, when you have spent most of your adult life masking, your body ends up in a chronic stress response. Your cortisol levels are up. It's really hard for you to sort of recover. I've only just realized, perhaps in the last few months, exactly how deep into burnout I was when I left my last job. I had pushed and masked for so long. And I am only now realizing that it has taken me months to get to a point where I'm actually not in some state of burnout. Or it's not even that. It's that I don't default to burnout immediately. When I get stressed or overtired, or I expend too much energy on a project, I don't immediately default into a cortisol-induced haze of irritation and anger and short-temperedness. And that's because I have now learned that to stop before I hit those levels. Some of the other things that we talk about on the show, like, your working memory is compromised when you're stressed out. Your working memory is compromised when you're in burnout. Your time blindness gets more intense. You're more likely to either over or underestimate how long something's going to take you. Sessions of hyper focus can be very productive. Trust me, I have ridden the wave of hyperfocus through most of my life and most of my career, but they are also part of what is burnout inducing, because you spend hours and hours and you lose track of, taking care of your body and taking care of your mind and letting yourself rest. So, all of these things contribute to you ending up losing interest in the things you really enjoy, not having time and energy to do those things because you haven't allowed yourself to rest before you've gotten into burnout. So some of the myths that we have and some of the things we believe about rest is that you have to earn rest. You have to get to a certain point. You have to do a certain amount to feel like you've earned it. Another thing that I really had to learn was that rest doesn't necessarily mean just not doing anything. Like, sometimes there are potato days, and there are days when you just have to, veg out and you just become a potato on your couch. But, journaling and, baking or gardening or rewatching your favorite comfort show, all of those things are a form of rest. Um, there are so many things that we can do that can help reinvigorate and give you back some of your energy. Try not to beat yourself up and try not to feel like rest is unproductive, because it is a part of a productive schedule. It's something that we need to do. And try to figure out some ways to build in buffers or transitions or things that make it easier for you to go between tasks. If you have a bunch of social tasks and things that you need to do, social events you need to go to, try to build in buffers. This is one of the things I started doing with my small human when we're going to spend time with some of her friends, and say we're going to go to a friend's party and that there are going to be people there she doesn't know. If I get her, I will often ask the parent in charge if I can bring her early to the event so that she can have time with that friend before the people that she doesn't know show up to the party. And this is a real easy way for her to sort of transition into the space, right? Then she has some time with the person she's there to see, and that gives her a sense of community and belonging that she needs in order to feel like she wants to be at that place. And it also helps her manage her burnout, right? So she doesn't burn out and she doesn't melt down, because kids aren't generally, well, they might be in burnout. I don't really know, honestly, but they might be in burnout, but kids will melt down. Instead of burning out, they melt down, and they can tend to, reset, I think, a little faster than us adults do. But that's one of the things that we want to keep in mind. Think of ways that you can make the transitions easier. Think about things that are convenient, that you might feel bad about, like buying vegetables that are pre-cut or things like that, but realize that those conveniences may allow you to eat veggies when, if you just have a head of broccoli that you need to cut up in order to cook it, versus a bag that you can pull open and you can just throw in a pan to cook. Those are accommodations for your neurodivergence as a disability. And, try not to beat yourself up on thinking, oh, I need to do this in order to be getting the best or to be properly feeding myself, or whatever other things you might tend to shame yourself about, because I certainly know that I shame myself about my conveniences more often than I care to admit. So if you start seeing the signs, or if your friends and family start seeing the signs that you need to rest, don't feel bad about it. Don't make yourself feel bad. Remember that, you can grind yourself into the ground, but then you are not going to be good for anybody in your life, including you. So take some time, learn the signs that you're getting into burnout, and start working in a regular rest schedule to the best of your abilities, and recharge, because recharging is just as important as pushing through. So thank you so much for listening. If this resonated, please share it with somebody else who might be struggling with these same issues, and hit me up for a discovery call on my website at divergentpathsconsulting.com. And until next time, stay regulated.